Alright, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to be discussing the functions of noun. Alright, in the previous video, we introduced you to nouns and their types. So today in this video, we are going to be discussing the functions of a noun. Now, what are the functions of a noun? The functions of a noun is number one, the function of a noun is number one, the subject of a verb. Alright? So a noun can act as the subject of a verb if it shows that it performs the verb. It performs the action. Remember that the verb is the action in the sentence. So the performer of the action in the sentence is regarded as the subject of the verb. So now a noun can serve as the subject of a verb. Consider the following examples. Now remember that it is not going to work as just the name in performing this function. So it can also work as a pronoun, but you're going to see, as you're going to see in shortly. You're going to see shortly. You see, the first example is Emmanuel drank to stupor. Now look at this word. Emmanuel is the one performing the action drank. So because it's the one performing the action drank, it is going to be the subject of the verb drank. The subject of the verb drank. Now, we could also have the example, she cooked or he cooked the food yesterday. Now, if he cooked, this he is the one performing the action cook. So basically, the first thing to identify in the sentence is the verb, the position of the verb. Once you identify the position of the verb, usually, maybe not all the time, but usually, every other statement before that verb is going to be a subject to that verb. Usually, not all the time. Alright, so you see, the cooked here is the verb, so he is the one before the verb, so it's going to be the one performing that action verb, and then it will be the subject of the sentence of the verb. Alright, so Emmanuel is the subject here. So notice he is a pronoun, of course, but in functionality, it is acting as a noun here. It is acting as a noun. Remember, the word pronoun actually means instead of a noun. You understand? It's taking the position of a noun. So here it's performing the function of a noun, being the subject of the verb cooked. So here, Emmanuel is the subject of the verb drank. Alright? Another example is the old man carried the heavy load. Now look at this sentence. The old man carried the heavy load. Now let's identify the position of the verb first. That's what I said. Identify the position of the verb first and we have to know what is the subject. Now this is the verb here, carried. Alright? Carried is the verb here. Now what is the subject then? I say that in most cases, the other words before the verb is going to be the subject of the verb. Does that mean that this man is the verb, the subject? How about this? How about this? Now, actually, in this statement, if this is the subject, if this is the verb rather, all of this here, the old man is going to be the noun in that subject. Now, here, it is not just a noun because it is a group of words. Remember, in our first video, we talked about the structure of English language, where we talked about words coming together to form phrases because of the absence of a finite verb. Now you see in these three words here rather, there is no verb there, no finite verb there. So it's going to be called a phrase. So we're going to get into the further explanation of what is the grammatical names and functions of some expressions or structures in English language. But basically, I want you to know why I gave this example is for you to know that a noun may not be a one-word entity. It could be more than one word. So in that case, it's going to be a phrase. So this is a noun phrase performing the subject of standing as the subject of the verb carried. So this is also a noun. All right. Now, The second function, so that is all the subject of a verb. The second function of a noun is the object, so the subject as well as the object of a verb. So a word is the object, a noun is the object of a verb if it is the entity on which the action performed in the sentence lies on or falls on. So if the function performed in a sentence falls back on a particular name, that name is going to be the object of the sentence because it's the receiver of the action in the sentence. So the receiver, the doer, is going to be the subject, while the receiver is going to be the object. So for example, if I said something like this, the young soldier slapped me. Alright? So God forbid the soldier slaps me anyway. Alright? Now, the young soldier slaps me. The first thing you identify still here is the position of the verb. Now we've identified the verb. Now, in this case, just like we had in the other case, where the former statements, former words, or former structure before the verb is usually the subject. In this case, the latter statement or structure is going to be the object, not always as well. So, after this slapped or this verb slapped, what do we have there? We have me. So, this me is the receiver of the action slap. You understand? From the young soldier. So, the young soldier is going to be the subject here, and this guy, me, is going to be the object. So, me here is a noun performing the standing as the object of a verb, of which verb? The verb slapped is the receiver of that verb. Alright? Now, another example is this. We killed the lion. Now look at this statement. What we have to find there is what? Is the verb first. So we've identified the verb. Now what is going to be the object? The object will be the statement or the structure that is after the verb. And here we have the lion to be after the verb. So the lion here is going to be our object, our noun as object of the verb. Alright? But in this case, because there are two expressions, two words here, it's going to be a noun phrase as well. A noun phrase. The lion is a noun phrase standing as the object of the verb killed. Now it is just the direct opposite of this guy. If it is the performer of the object of the action is going to be the subject, and if it's the receiver of that action is going to be the object. Subject, performer of the action, and object, receiver of the action. Subject, performer, object, receiver. Alright? Now the third function that the noun can perform is it can stand as the object, as a complement of a sentence. The complement of a sentence. Now it could be, now this position of complement could be into two forms, could be in two forms. It could be as an object complement or as a subject complement. Now, in our expression here, I will not be, now we are going to be talking basically about the subject complement. Alright, look at this. For example, you see something like this. The woman is a doctor. Now, what is a complement? A complement, actually, what a complement is an addition, right? Like, so for example, if I compliment someone on something, it's like I am adding some good comment to the person. You get it? So in this case also, the complement is like an addition. In fact, it's more like it's performing the function of an adjective here to describe what. In this case, it's actually saying that this one entity is described as this other entity. So that is what it's saying. A complement of a sentence. In this case, the woman is a doctor. The word doctor here is It's going to be a phrase there, so let me use only the doctor. You see, doctor here is the complement of the woman. So this is going to be the complement of the noun, of the subject woman. So in this case, it's going to be a subject complement. Alright, I hope that is clear. Another one is we called no, let's use another one. Let's use something quite simpler. Let's use we are his siblings. Right? So these are the younger ones now talking that we are his siblings. So siblings here is going to be the complement of we. Now, it's more like he's describing this person, alright? It's more like he's describing what we are, you understand? So, but in this case, it's going to be an object complement. Why? Because it is, now listen, because in this case, it is the complement of this person. So more like it's describing this person, the way I said this complement works. But because siblings, the word sibling is not an adjective, it's a noun, it's a name, or a general name, you know, a common noun. It's a common noun that we discussed in the previous video. A common noun for your younger ones. So that is going to be, so it's here, it's going to be the complement of this object. Because this guy is coming after the verb, so it's going to be the object. He says that it's going to be an object here. And in this case, there is another statement here coming after that. That's going to be the object complement. I hope that is clear. So that is the other function, the third function of the noun. Now let's talk about one more function of the noun. Alright? The noun can also function as the object of a preposition. Now this one is quite easily identified. Now it's quite easily identified because it is simply, once you see that that noun is coming after a preposition, then it is going to be the object of the preposition. That is how simple it is. Once you see that the noun comes immediately after a preposition, then it's going to be the object of the preposition. That is how to identify it. Yes. So it is object of the preposition. For example, we went to school. So look at school here. We know is a common noun, right? A concrete noun. A concrete noun that is a common noun. That is a division of the common noun. So you see the school is coming after the preposition to, so because of that, this guy is going to be the object of the preposition to. Alright? So she screamed at her mother. She screamed at her mother. Now, her mother here is going to be the object of the preposition at. Do you understand? Now, if we had underlined only the mother, it's going to be the complement. Do you get it now? The complement of this her, but because we are underlining her and mother, it's going to be a noun phrase functioning as the object of the preposition at. Is that clear? Alright, let's go to the last one, which is noun in apposition. Noun in apposition to the subject. Noun in apposition to the subject. Now, a noun in apposition to the subject is easily identified by simply looking at the structure and identifying a second noun that is saying the same thing as the first noun. And usually, apposition in fact means placed side by side. The word apposition means placed by side by side. So you're going to see two nouns standing together. So for example, I could say, Donald Trump, the president, or the former president, right? The former president of USA came to my house. Well, I don't know what he came to do anyway. So you see Donald Trump, the president of USA. Now you see, the president of USA is a noun there because it is actually identifying one entity, the former president of USA. And notice that Donald Trump. So you see that Donald Trump here is a noun. This other guy is a noun. So because those two nouns are placed together and they are identifying one person, it's going to be a noun in opposition to this subject. If I said, Mr. Imam, your class teacher, should be here by now. So, Mr. Imam, the class teacher, they are both saying the same thing about that. They are both representing one person, identifying one person. So, both of those words are in opposition to one another, or to each other rather. Alright? So, I hope that is very clear. Thank you very much for seeing this video today. And in the next video, we are going to be seeing the singular nouns and nominalization and singular nouns and plural nouns. Alright, so we know how nouns are formed into plurals. See you in the next video. Thank you.